Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into the scientist who saw too far. We've got a fascinating historical mystery on our hands. We're tracking how an incredibly brilliant 18th century scientific genius completely transformed into a mystic. And the wild part? His influence is literally still sparking new spiritual movements today. We're going to be unpacking a text, specifically focusing on Chapter 1, titled My View of Life, that claims to channel the spirit of this very man, offering a pretty profound critique of our modern world. So let's just jump right in with a question that honestly defies all rational logic. How exactly did a highly respected scientist from the 1700s manage to watch a devastating fire unfold in real time from literally hundreds of miles away? I mean, it's described like he was watching it on a modern flat-screen TV. Now, you might be thinking this is just some old folklore, but it's not. It's a very specific, documented claim explored in our source material today. Section 1. The Impossible Vision, a clairvoyant in Stockholm. To even begin to understand this impossible vision, we first need to meet the man behind the mystery. We are talking about Emanuel Swedenborg. The source text details his really profound journey. Born in Stockholm, Sweden, Swedenborg's lifespan from 1688 to 1772, right there at the dawn of the modern era. And he wasn't just a nobody. The text notes he was an incredibly influential figure across Europe. It got to the point where even the legendary philosopher Immanuel Kant was writing critiques about him and these phenomenal abilities he supposedly had. Section 2. From Science to Spirit, the 18th Century Polymath. Let's take a look at his early years, because his incredibly grounded background is exactly what makes his later supernatural claims so shocking. Just look at the sheer breadth of his scientific resume. The text really emphasizes that Swedenborg wasn't some fringe mystic out looking for magic. Not at all. He was a brilliantly grounded empirical thinker. I mean, he researched natural science extensively. He worked as a hands-on mining engineer, calculating how to extract physical resources from the earth. He made vast, actual contributions to medicine and biology. As we mentioned, his work caught the eye of Immanuel Kant. He was totally a man of data, blueprints, and the scientific method. Honestly, he had a career that, if he were alive today, might earn someone a Nobel Prize. But then, well, everything changed. His life literally split into two distinct halves, and it all revolves around one very specific number: 55. As Chapter 1 explicitly states, and I quote, "At the age of 55, he received a revelation from God, realized the limits of the scientific method, and became active as a spiritualist." And the text gets very specific here, pointing to a direct revelation from Jesus Christ. According to the source, this is when Swedenborg was granted supernatural abilities that literally allowed him to traverse the spirit world. He didn't just abandon science, you see. He felt he had completely transcended its limits. So his life essentially fractures right down the middle. For his first 55 years, he's this empirical researcher and mining engineer, a man of tangible, measurable reality. But for his remaining years, he completely pivots. He becomes a mystic, a clairvoyant, and a spiritual theologian, navigating realms that are just completely beyond our physical senses. Moving on to Section 3, a famous clairvoyant, miracles on record. So what did this new life actually look like? What kind of abilities did he claim to have? The text attributes some rapidly developing, truly astounding abilities to him. We're talking profound out-of-body experiences where he reported leaving his physical form behind to explore other dimensions. There are these documented anecdotes of him locating a hidden will that literally no living family member knew about. He even predicted a factory fire right before it sparked. And of course, most famously, there's his clairvoyant witnessing of the Great Distant Stockholm fire. Let's zoom in on one particularly vivid anecdote from the text. So Swedenborg is reportedly having dinner with an acquaintance, right? Just a normal evening, when suddenly he has this terrifying vision. He tells his dinner companion to rush home immediately because a fire is breaking out at his factory. The guy hops on his horse, races back with incredible urgency, and actually arrives just in time to see the very first sparks igniting, right before the fire could consume the entire building. I mean, that is precision timing, derived entirely from a vision. And these weren't just simple parlor tricks. The source material notes that these visions led to a massive theological output. Swedenborg authored over 100 books documenting his spiritual journeys, the most famous one being Heaven and Hell, or Tenkai Tejigoku. He essentially spent the rest of his life methodically cataloging the spirit world with the exact same precision he used to use for biology and mining. But, as we're about to see, his work definitely didn't end in the 18th century. Section 4. Mission to Modern Japan. A New Spiritual Movement. Now we're going to leap forward in time, straight into the modern era, because the text claims this story is far from over. This brings us to the source book itself. Authored by Ryuho Okawa, this text operates on the fascinating premise that Swedenborg's spirit is actively communicating today to guide humanity. It's essentially a collection of modern channeled messages, picking up exactly where his 18th century writings left off. To fully grasp the context here, we need to define the organization that's facilitating this communication. It's a spiritual movement based in Japan known as Happy Science, or Kofuku no Kagaku. Now, we're looking at this objectively, just analyzing the claims made within the text. And the claim is that high-level spirits, including our guy Swedenborg, are playing a central role in using this movement to deliver urgent, necessary messages to the contemporary world. So what exactly is that urgent message? Well, the spirit offers a pretty sharp, uncompromising critique of modern society, specifically aimed at Japan. The text reads, quote, Japan has taken in only the pathological aspects of Western civilization, rejecting divine truth and spiritual thought, end quote. It argues that while the nation has undeniably achieved immense material and economic success, it has completely dismissed spiritual reality in the process, becoming overly rational, cynical, and just disconnected from the divine. So, this brings us to the crucial point, the ultimate mission stated within this book. The goal isn't just to share some interesting historical anecdotes about an 18th century clairvoyant, not at all. The stated mission is to use these communications to finally prove the reality of the spirit world. It's about combining that intellectual rigor with profound spiritual truth to ignite a brand new spiritual awakening, one that originates in Japan and then spreads globally. Which brings us to a really compelling final question to reflect on, inspired directly by the themes we've covered today. Can a nation's purely material and economic success actually survive long-term without some kind of spiritual awakening? Whether you view Swedenborg as a true visionary or just a fascinating psychological case study, his massive transition from strict empirical science to deep spiritual exploration really challenges us to consider where the boundaries of our own reality truly lie. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer, and I will catch you next time.